And you collaborated with him on his CD?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did a song. We did a song together where I was featured, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it's every. I can't remember, but it's a beautiful song.
Yeah. It's on a thousand
different ways.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's amazing. So now tell me about Seeds of Hope.
Seeds of Hope. I was living in Australia for a couple of years in Perth, and it was during the whole crisis in Kosovo, and there were tons of just refugees that were fleeing to Australia, and I remember that there were a lot of refugee camps in the area where I was, and I had some friends who were actually taking in a lot of these refugees and just taking them out to dinner and having them into their home and just really welcoming them. And we got this idea that, how neat would it be to write a song for them, for this crisis, to try and raise money to rebuild Kosovo.
Right.
And so we wrote this song called Seeds of Hope. It was kind of like this peace anthem that we had envisioned would kind of go throughout the world and hopefully raise some money to make a difference. And and it ended up making raising quite a bit of money for them. And one of the neat experiences that happened while I was there after we wrote the song, we were invited to come to one of the refugee camps, and there were thousands of people without homes, and we got to put on a performance for them.
Yeah.
And we had the lyrics to the song translated into their language and passed out, and then we performed it for them and dedicated it to them, and it was just like, there wasn't a dry eye in the room, and it was just like this really, really special moment.
So you've opened up for people like Barbara Streisand, Il Divo, like you're getting into all these circles. It must be, is this through all your connections with David Foster?
Pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like that was the beginning of it, and it's still, he's always bringing things to me, and then it's through the record label and through my booking agents and through managers. I mean, like I've just acquired a whole team of people that are just working, and it tends to be a small world in the music world, in the music industry. So it's but I don't take anything that I've done for granted, and I'm very grateful for all the opportunities that I've been having.
Now, tell me about what it's like collaborating with David Foster. What's kind of the process there? And
collaborating with David Foster. Number one thing is it's intimidating at first.
Yeah.
I mean, the man's a musical genius, and it's an amazing educational opportunity. To watch him work and to just kind of get inside his head and see how he thinks. I've learned so much, and it's fun, especially David's known as a writer and as a producer, especially producing vocals. And what's unique in this circumstance is that I don't sing and that I'm a pianist.
Right.
But he's also a phenomenal pianist, and he just we'll sit down on a bench together, and I'll say, well, what about this? And then he'll say, well, okay, I like this, but what if you change it to this? And so we can totally communicate, literally, and always be on the same page. And so it's good though. Like he's David's really respectful of ideas that I have, and is respectful to me as an artist. Yet he's still a producer, and he knows it, and sometimes will remind us all. Yeah. But he's great to work with. He really is.
So do you feel that you've really grown as an artist working with him?
Totally. I've learned some priceless things just about writing, just about just the big picture of performing, and just all of these different things. I'm always I just try and take in everything that I can when I'm around him.
So tell me about your CD Within.
Within, I was saying earlier that we had about a total of 6 weeks from start to finish, from concept to recording to having it on a disc. It was a very rushed process. Thankfully, I had a lot of songs that I had written previous to meeting David that we were able to use, and it was literally like I just lived in the studio for 6 weeks, writing, and it was a huge learning process for me because I had up to that point in my life just done piano solo.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden I had an orchestra, which is what I had always dreamed of, but I had an orchestra at my disposal. I had all of these amazing sound design, electronic, sounds at my fingertips, all these different things. And so we really were just kind of creating my sound, and so it's different. We were kind of just making it up as we were going. And I feel like once we finished the album, I'm so pleased with how it turned out.
Yeah.
Once we finished it, I finally figured out what my sound was, which led to my next album. And I actually had a few years to work on the next album, knowing what I was aiming for this time.
Now, what were you have some original songs on Within, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about those and what inspired them.
Well, Within, the title track, I called it that because throughout my life, like I always come up with different musical ideas, and sometimes I'll have just like a 30-second chunk of an idea, and it doesn't quite get developed or finished, so I just kind of tuck it away and I'll pull it out later. And so I'd come up with all these ideas, and one night I just figured out how to compile like a number of these ideas together into this one song. And I thought I'd call it Within because it was me and my expressions over the years, just all put into one song. And so Within, that's meaningful to me also because that was the song that got David's attention, and that's what really got me into the music world in a big way. So that song's important to me. I have another song that I wrote called Stella's Theme. And I did that in honor of my piano teacher, Stella.
That's amazing, yeah.
And you can, my piano teacher, she's like 4 feet 10 inches tall, this Jewish Russian lady, and to this day I'm still afraid of her. she's just a wonderful lady, but she's just very very stern and has her opinions and her ways, and I love her to death. So I tried to portray just this classy Jewish Russian dramatic type song that would honor her.
Yeah.
And so that's called Stella's Theme.
That's great.
So, and there's many other tracks on there, and they each have different meanings to me. There's Piano Fantasy, and that's kind of more of a classical sounding song, and it's just one day I wrote a song and I just thought it'd be fun to just write like a madman type of a song, just a showy, fast, fun piece, and so it was thrilling for me to all of a sudden then have orchestra just join with me, because I'd always imagined it, but it actually happened. And so I can't say I can't say enough how exciting it is to have a concept and have an idea, and then write down, have all of the orchestrations written and just have this idea of what it's going to sound like.
Yeah.
And then to actually go into the studio, have a full orchestra, and then hear it for the first time. Like it's just overwhelming.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now, did Giroux, is that how you pronounce it?
Garou.
French rock star?
Yes.
He was on the album as well?
Yeah, and that was just totally a random circumstance that just kind of happened. We were working on I loved the song Dust in the Wind, and we were trying to put it down as an instrumental song.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't working. It sounded kind of cheesy. It almost sounded like Muzak or something.
Yeah.
And Garou, this rock star, just happened to be in the room next door to us working on something else. And David's like, maybe we can get Garou to like sing maybe just the chorus or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, would he do that? And so Garou just came in with his deep voice, and he's like, yeah, let's do it. And so he starts singing the chorus, and we all like look at each other and we're like, wow, what an amazing voice. And we're like, you want to just sing everything?